Happy Earth Day, everybody. Welcome to our live Earth Day broadcast brought to you by our Catholic Student Leadership Impact Team. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to start in about 5 minutes. We want people to get online. So if you're online right now, a couple things I want to mention. One, take your phone or computer and message someone and say, hey, did you know it's Earth Day? Our board is coming together to celebrate our Earth and our future. Go to CatholicStudentLeadership.com, invite them to come join us because we're going to have a good time. We're going to give away some pizza. We're going to learn about how we can protect our environment, and we're going to have fun and be educated all at the same time. So I just want to say hi to Joseph. He's in there. Pinky, Christine, Johan, Patricia, Kathy, Connie, Miss Gonzalez, Besties, JJ, and everyone else in the chat box. Welcome. If you want to participate in the chat box and not just watch on YouTube, what you could do is make sure you log into your Google account. I'm not sure if your TCDSB Google account works. You might need to have your own Gmail account, and then you actually need a YouTube account or a YouTube channel in order to participate in the chat box. So set that up, and you too can join in on the chat box because we'll definitely be asking your questions and opinion, and we'll be asking you to participate by typing in and interacting with everyone else in the chat box. We have 69 people watching right now. That is awesome. We're going to let that rise a little bit. Diana, how are you? Barbara, thank you. Anna, thank you. Gabriella, thank you for all joining us today. So it is 4:32. We'll give it one more minute for people to log on. Once again, if you want to participate in the chat box, make sure to open a YouTube channel or YouTube account, and you can also type in the chat box if you do so. Cohen, I see you. Mark, how's it going? Jonathan, Arturo, Ruby, Brent, how's it going? Hope everyone is staying safe and hope everyone is enjoying as much as they can enjoy distance learning right here during this unique time in our world. And speaking about our world, we are going to be talking about how we can protect our world and protect our future. I know I have a 11-year-old daughter, and I definitely want for her to live in a world that is as beautiful as the world we have now. But that can't happen unless we take care of our world. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to introduce to you some very special ladies, and they'll be hosting today's live event. It is Maria and Anne, part of our CSLIT executive. Please give a warm welcome to your host today, Anne and Maria.
Hi, guys.
So, hi, I'm Anne, and I am the Director of Social Justice for CSLIT.
And my name is Maria, as you can see on the screen, and I'm your Director of AFL for CSLIT.
So, while we're just waiting for everybody, just remember to just comment your name and your school over there in our live chat, so we can just keep track of everyone who's here.
And happy Earth Day. Sorry, we forgot to give everyone a warm welcome, a warm online welcome. So I'm not sure, should we start with the agenda then?
Yeah.
All right. So for today, we're gonna be doing a lot of things. And the first of those is an opening prayer.
After the opening prayer, we're going to have a guest speaker come in and speak to us about the origins of Earth Day.
After our first guest speaker, we're going to have an environmental Kahoot with a pizza prize for the winner. So stay tuned for that.
And while we're figuring out who wins the pizza prize, we are going to bring in another guest speaker.
After they share their time with us, we're going to do a Mentimeter activity, which, well, you'll find out what that is later on, but it'll be fun.
And then we are going to announce who has won the pizza giveaway.
And to close everything off, we're going to invite our first guest with the opening prayer to do our closing prayer.
So before we begin, we just wanted to start with a land acknowledgement, especially for Earth Day today. So we respectfully acknowledge that we are gathered on the ancestral lands and waters of all Indigenous peoples, who have left their footprints on Mother Earth before us, those who walk on it now, and future generations who have yet to walk upon it. We pray to the Creator for strength and wisdom that all may continue to serve as stewards of the earth.
Okay, now we're going to call upon Junette, our faith ambassador, to lead us in our opening prayer.
Good afternoon, everyone. I ask you all to please join me in prayer. Let us sign ourselves in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God of all living things, on the third day you brought forth vegetation, every plant that bears seed, every tree that bears fruit. You saw that it was good, and it pleased you. Lord, even before you breathed us into existence, this garden you created, unfathomably bountiful, unutterably beautiful, and in your love for us, thought to place us among it. Make us worthy of this earth, in what we sow and what we reap, in what we plant and what we prune, so that when the last harvest comes, when we are called to stand before you, it may once more be said of this people, he saw that it was good. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. All saints, pray for us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Just wanted to thank you, Junette, for that beautiful prayer.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we're going to be introducing our very first guest speaker, Audrey Ferrer. So just as a little bit of information on who she is, Audrey has studied science and sustainable development. She's worked on environmental and social justice projects in the Canary Islands, Sri Lanka, Scotland, and Chile. She's also worked in paleobotany research for U of T and the Royal Ontario Museum, seeing how plant communities have changed over time. Currently, Audrey is a secondary religion teacher in our school board, and she's just here to say a couple of words and to teach us some things about Earth Day. So very warm welcome for Audrey.
Hi, everyone. Happy Earth Day. I hope that you've had a chance to enjoy the beautiful day that we've had with lots of sunshine. Thank you for the beautiful prayer, Jeanette, and thank you, Maria and Anne, for your wonderful introduction. I want to just start off by saying this picture that you see here was quite monumental. It shows the first Earth Day where thousands were streaming on major streets. And this is an image of 5th Street in New York City. Next slide, please. So Earth Day began in 1970. And the idea for Earth Day came from Senator Gaylord Nelson. And at that point in time, you have to understand the decades leading up to the 1970s, people didn't really understand a lot of the science around the environment and health. So Rachel Carson was a prominent scientist. She wrote a book that became quite iconic. It's called Silent Spring. It was a New York Times bestseller. And she basically wrote in a way that non-scientists could understand how the actions that we were doing as humans, polluting the earth, would actually also have consequences on our health. And she really made a beautiful case for why we should protect nature. And so things that they would observe, things like factories spewing pollution into the water, into the air. They would spray chemicals like DDT from planes, like right onto the fields where people were working. So people were breathing it in. You had all these cars at that point in time that was they were using like leaded gas. So all of these things were forefront in their mind. And what happened was there was an oil spill even in the year leading up to it that Senator Gaylord Nelson thought, you know, we need to really do something. So many people have concerns. And that's where the idea of Earth Day was birthed. he basically recruited college students, and one of the main organizers was, his name is, you can see it there. Well, StreamYard, the icons breaking it up, but his name is Dennis Hayes. And he basically gathered some of his friends through his network. They started organizing it. They didn't have much of a budget. And in that time, they didn't have the internet. So it's pretty amazing that he, through their network and just starting to talk to people, businesses started jumping on, school communities, other community partners. And in the end, 20 million Americans participated across major US cities. Next slide, please. So in this picture, just two images. You had what were called teach-ins to teach people so that they could understand why it was important to protect nature. You had students. This picture here on the left are students from the Convent of Sacred Heart School cleaning up Union Square in New York City. On the right was one of the massive rallies that were happening across the country. Just to give you an example, Dennis Hayes, that main organizer, he was in New York City in the morning, flew out to Chicago for a huge rally in the afternoon, and then flew to Washington, D.C. So it was major cities across the US that were participating. Next slide, please. So then that takes us to a few decades later. 1970 happened, but there weren't other big Earth Day campaigns again until 1990, when it went global. And within those 20 years, they noticed a lot of things starting to change. Because of the 1970 Earth Day, they started enacting really important laws, like the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act. They started banning certain insecticides like DDT. So they were doing all of these things legislation-wise, and then the focus started to move towards more of at the individual level and community level. So garbage started getting to become a concern, because with the growing population, with everyone that, with all the garbage that was now being produced, consumerism becoming more rampant, people started having this attitude, well, you know what, we have to dump our waste somewhere, but it's not going to be in my backyard. And it's what we call NIMBYism. And so that's where they realized, okay, does everything really need to go into a landfill? And that started becoming the discussion. And so in 1990, there was a real big push around that time to really look at things like recycling programs. I remember in 1990, I was a grade 11 student, much like the other students in CSLIT right now, some that are viewing now. And our school did not have recycling boxes. We would have to, a group of what I call tree huggers, me and my friends would actually just get cardboard boxes. We'd put them in the classrooms. And then especially at the end of each semester, because kids would get rid of their binders and loads of paper. We didn't have Google Classroom back then. We'd have all these boxes that we collected. And if you just think about that, that was only one school and so many other schools. So that was a conversation that was happening. And eventually now recycling is very common in cities. And then eventually composting came in around the mid 90s to late 1990s. Next slide. So that takes us now to the 50th anniversary of Earth Day 2020. And in this Earth Day, you had 1 billion people now who have registered and are participating, with over 190 countries participating. So it's a movement that has really grown. The development of science, the advent of internet, social media has really made people more aware of what's happening and the importance of the actions that need to be taken. And the main question that I want you to just think about is, the theme for this year is climate action. And I don't think that surprises us given the experience that people are having. But my question to you is, based on what we've been seeing, is what we're doing enough? And is it going to be fast enough? So I would love to be able to show you a video now. It's Laudato Si. So next slide, please. And Laudato Si is an encyclical that Pope Francis wrote 5 years ago. So we're coming up to the 5th anniversary of Laudato Si. And Pope Francis, these encyclicals that have been written by popes over time, they're essentially letters that are written to the world by the Pope, who speaks on a really important issue that really has a relevance to the whole world. And so he identified that 5 years ago that he wanted to share a really important message on care for our common home. And so this video really captures it nicely. And then we'll just do a really brief talk about it. Could you put the video on full, please?
Plants and species are becoming extinct at an alarming rate. The Earth, our home, is beginning to look more and more like an immense pile of filth. Our increasing use of polluting fossil fuels, especially coal, oil, and gas, is helping to drive climate change, which is one of the biggest challenges we face today. Climate change affects us all, but it is the poorest communities who suffer the most. We are now at crisis point, where the future of our common home is under threat. And despite this crisis, there seems to be no slowdown in the lifestyles of the rich nations. Enormous gaps between the rich and the poor continue to rise. Between those who are trapped in poverty with few or no resources, and those who are consuming and wasting at an ever-increasing rate, leaving a trail of waste and destruction. Our digital world is also polluting us with noise and distractions, stopping us from learning how to live wisely, to think deeply, and to love generously. Real relationships are replaced with virtual friendships, which we can choose to accept or reject, making us dissatisfied with true, deep relationships, or can give rise to a new sense of isolation. Yet, despite all of this, all is not lost. Young people demand change. Young people want to build a better future, but take seriously the environmental crisis and the sufferings of the poor. So we can change. We can make a new start. To protect our common home, we need a common plan. The whole human family needs to work together so that we may sow beauty, not pollution and destruction. Our use of polluting fossil fuels also needs to be replaced without delay. And we need to stop treating the world's resources as an object for profit, with no thought on how our actions might affect the environment or future generations. So let's put love for the world and love for our neighbour into action by living together in harmony, listening to one another, caring for nature, and getting involved with society and politics. Let's undergo an eco-conversion in which we listen to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. This means taking seriously things like avoiding the use of plastic and paper, reducing water waste, separating rubbish, and using public transport as a part of our calling to protect creation. But more urgently, we need to slow down on how much we consume and throw away. We can find great joy and freedom in living simply, rather than always on the lookout for what we do not have. We are capable of these changes and making a new start. So let us make that start today. Signed, Pope Francis. Laudato Si, a letter from Pope Francis and care for our common home.
Okay, thank you. So from this video, I think it's very clear, and Pope Francis did this in a beautiful way, explaining in his letter how we are intricately connected to nature and why we should appreciate it as God's creation. Nature, think about an artist who puts so much of themselves, so much of their love into creating a masterpiece. If that artist were to give their work as a gift with so much love to someone, and that someone just tore it up or threw it aside, it would be really hurtful. And it's the same kind of idea. God has given so much of this gift of creation to us, its beauty, the way it provides for us. And unfortunately, often we forget that. We can be thankful for the blessings that we have, but it's in a way where we don't really think about, you know, we don't treat nature with as much reverence as we should. And so now that we're in this period of COVID-19, and in some ways we've been forced to be in our homes, we can't go out shopping as much, we can't do all of these outdoor activities. It's sort of really been an opportunity for us to spend more quiet time, less time shopping, focusing on this consumerism. Like, I would love to do the research. I don't know if someone's collected this data to see, well, because people haven't been commuting, people haven't been going through their daily routine, how many plastic or paper cups have we saved just from like drive-through Tim Hortons, from eating at restaurants that are using styrofoam or plastic cutlery? Like, there's all of these things now that we have this time to think about and look at. And just even on a daily level, like things that we're noticing now, because it's more quiet, you know, there's not the hustle and bustle of rush hour, the bird sounds that you can hear. I was reading one article, foreigners in Wuhan saying they never thought birds were there, but now that the streets are so quiet, they could actually hear birds chirping and the flapping of their wings. In places like northern India, in cities like Jalandhar, and which is like about 200 miles away from the Himalayas, now they can actually see the Himalayas. The animals, so some of the whales that are moving up north through the west coast, they're going to be in stress-free waters because the cruise ships that would often go there for Alaska are not going to be there right now. So there's a lot of these things that we're kind of noticing. And the question is, I'd really like to know, and I don't know if some of you are wondering this too, when this is all over in terms of the pandemic, are we going to go back to business as usual? Or are we going to really take this moment to appreciate and think about what choices we've made, this idea of more conservation? And is that going to continue even after this period of our Sabbath? So I just leave you with that thought. Thank you so much for listening, and happy Earth Day.
So we just want to thank you for your time and for the wonderful speech you just gave to all of us, teaching us about the history of Earth Day. I know I learned a lot of things that I didn't know about in the past.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wanted to just say thank you because, I don't know, it's really nice to have someone from our own community so passionate about working with the environment. And thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much to you and CSLIT for your student leadership. Students are constantly inspiring me, the work that they do. And I know that it's hard in this day and era, but thank you so much for that leadership and for continuing to promote stewardship. Take care. Bye.
Bye, Miss. Thank you.
So now that we've just heard from Ms. Ferrer, we are going to move on to our next agenda item. And this agenda item is a little game we're about to play. We are going to be asking you guys 15 questions, and they are all multiple choice questions. And the first person who answers the question correctly in the chat box will get a ballot. And you can get as many ballots as you want. The more questions you answer correctly, the more ballots you get. And at the end of the stream, we'll be drawing from the ballot box, and whoever we draw will win a pizza lunch delivered to your doorstep. So we hope you've been listening closely to the live stream.
It'll come in handy, trust me.
So if everybody's ready, comment ready
Yes.
over in the live comment section.
All right. So for our first question, we have, which of the following is not considered to be a source of renewable energy? So A, hydropower, B, wind power, C, natural gas, or D, solar. So let's think back to all of our grade 9 science classes and see what we remember.
Yeah, I can see how this question could be a little bit tricky because of how it's not explicitly stated like coal or oil, but if you've been paying attention, there's one option that stands out just a little bit more than the rest. Maria,
Good
do you know what it
answer.
is?
You guys all have really good answers. Maybe, but I can't really share it just yet. I have to wait for Mike to give us the final answer. So the answer is C, natural gas. So whoever commented C is correct. Natural gas is not a source of renewable energy, sadly. So to the person who commented it first, you will get your name entered into the name wheel.
So now we're going to be moving on to our next question. So question number 2 is asking, which of the following is a greenhouse gas? So A, we have CO2, B, CH4, C, water vapor, or D, all of the above. Now this one's a little bit of a tricky one. Maria, do you know what these stand for maybe? How about we quiz you on your chemistry knowledge?
Okay, go for it.
So what does CO2 stand for?
CO2 is carbon dioxide.
Now what about CH4?
Methane gas. My chemistry teacher would be so proud of me. Oh my gosh.
And for C, what would the chemical formula for that be?
What about you, ma'am? What's the chemical formula for water vapor?
I'd like to think it's H2O, but between the three, I still wonder which one is a greenhouse gas. I wonder what everyone thinks in the comments. So Mike, why don't you give us the answer? So the answer is D, all of the above. So greenhouse gases can be a result of both human activity or natural occurrence. So they can come in many forms, not just carbon dioxide, like most of us know. So it's good to know all the different ways where greenhouse gases can be present in our world.
Even water vapor, guys. Okay. For question number 3, we have, what does this diagram visualize? Now, I really, really hope that everyone knows what this is. I'm going to be really sad if you guys don't know. Please tell me.
We'll be taking like similar answers. You don't have to get the exact words, but there's a couple key words we're looking at in mind.
Yes. And
so hopefully you remember what it is.
Also, in the meantime, while everyone comments their answers, and you have an environmental joke for us?
Well, Maria, what's a tornado's favorite game?
Oh no. What?
Twister.
Oh my god. Guys, the jokes are so bad. I'm sorry. You guys are gonna have to just cope with us. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot more to come.
There's so much more where that came from. Okay. Now that most of you have responded, Mike, can you give us the answer, please? And the answer is indeed the water cycle. So most of you got it right. I don't think anybody got it wrong, which I'm very happy about.
So now we're going to be moving on to question number 4. So question number 4 is, approximately blank tons of oil produced in the world each year end up in the ocean. So we have A, 2 million, B, 5 million, C, 1 billion, or D, 300 million. So what's kind of sad is regardless of which one is the answer, that is a lot of oil ending up in the ocean in the form of plastic and just oil and gas. And hopefully we're going to be doing our part to reduce that in the next few years while we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And you guys have some really good answers. I like what I'm seeing. One thing to keep in mind is that there's a big difference between million and billion, which I feel like I forget sometimes as well. So just as a little tip while you guys are answering.
Maria, do you know what it is?
I might know what it is. There's a couple that are convincing. I don't know.
So it turns out the answer is B, 5 million. So there's 5 million tons of oil ending up in the oceans every single year. And that is a lot. So hopefully in the future, we'll reduce that number until there's no oil left in the ocean.
Hopeful thinking. Okay, question number 5 is, okay, which of the following do not produce greenhouse gas emissions? So A, driving cars, B, walking and biking, C, animal agriculture, or D, generating electricity from natural gas, oil, and coal. So emphasis on the not. So think of the answer that's most environmentally friendly, I guess.
We hope you're doing whatever the answer is as much as you possibly can. And especially now with quarantine, just if you're staying away from everybody else and practicing physical distancing, it's a great time to just spend some time walking or biking on your own, getting some fresh air.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, and Mike, can we get the answer? The answer is B, walking and biking. So walking and biking does not produce greenhouse gas emissions because, well, you're not really using anything that would produce any greenhouse gases. So it's the most eco-friendly way to get around, at least for now.
Okay, so on to the next question. So question number 6 is, which of the following allows us to reduce our ecological footprint? So there's A, reduce water usage, B, unplug your electronics when not in use, C, installing energy-saving light bulbs in your home, or D, all of the above. So for anybody who doesn't know, our ecological footprint is how much impact we have on the planet in terms of our carbon consumption, like when we use gas, when we travel, things like that. So our goal is hopefully everyone tries to have the smallest ecological footprint they possibly can.
Mm-hmm. And a good activity is also to go online and calculate your ecological footprint and to see how much of an impact you're having on the planet. All of you guys are on a roll also. So many good answers.
Okay, right. So the answer is D, all of the above. So all these are very easy and effective ways to do your part from the comfort of your own home. None of them require any extra effort. And just by being mindful, we can really play our part in help saving the planet.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. And our next question is, which of the following is contributing to global warming? So A, renewable energy, B, restoring habitats, C, recycling, or D, deforestation. This is a tough one, guys, but I'm very confident that we're going to be okay.
Hey, Maria, speaking of deforestation,
No.
what is a tree drink?
Oh my gosh. What is a tree drink, Anne?
Root beer.
I I had one of them. That was the one that I had. Okay, hold on. Wait. Stop. She caught me off guard with that one.
Your next question will be your joke.
Okay. All right. So lots of good answers, but the answer is D, deforestation. So, fun fact, deforestation in the tropical rainforest contributes more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere than the sum of all the cars and trucks that drive on the world's roads. So, that's a lot of CO2. Like, so much. If you're accumulating all of the cars and trucks everywhere in the world, deforestation still accounts for more than that. So, that's a lot.
So question number 8 is, which is not a factor contributing to the loss of biodiversity? So we have A, the planting of trees, B, urbanization, C, climate change, or D, overexploitation of species. Maria, what do you think about this?
I mean, I'm not sure. These all seem very convincing, but I'm gonna say no. Actually, I'm gonna wait. It seems like everyone's getting it though, so I'm happy about that. But in the meantime, I do have a joke for you guys. So, Mike, you're gonna have to bear with us as well. I'm sorry. Okay. What do you give a sick bird?
What do you give a sick bird?
Treatment, because I'm so sorry.
And the answer, Mike, is A, the planting of trees. So we just have to pay attention to the fact that we're asking what is not a factor, and that is trees.
Okay, question 9 is, in which year was Earth Day created? So A is 1960, B is 1980, C is 1970, and D is 1965. So if you were paying attention to Audrey's presentation, you should know, you should probably know what the answer is, hopefully. And thank you for everyone that's complimenting my jokes in the comments. I appreciate it.
So this one, I guess it can be a little tricky if you didn't pay attention. It's kind of surprising to see that all of the options are pretty recent years. So we know that Earth Day hasn't been happening for as long as we might think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know the answer, just take a look at our live stream name and maybe do a little bit of math there.
Okay, and Mike, can we get the answer? And the answer is 1970. So yeah, like Anne was saying, it wasn't that long ago, and it's crazy to think that it took so long for people to really start, being aware of what's going on with the planet and having a day to celebrate it and to care for it. So it's cool.
Now question number 10, and the question is, what is the Earth Day theme for 2020? So we have A, climate action, B, protect our species, C, end plastic pollution, or D, environment and climate literacy. Now, these are all really good options and have been themes in previous years, but we just want you to tell us which one you think is the theme for this year.
Yes, and it was mentioned once again. We hope you were paying attention because we did mention it in the presentation. Well, not we, but Ms. Ferrer. And it's a close call. They're all themes that we've had in the past. And then there's one that's for this year, so I don't know.
So what is the answer, Mike? The answer is A, climate action. Speaking about climate change, Maria, let me tell you a little story, okay? So there was a climate scientist and a climate change denier, and they walked into a bar, okay? And the climate change denier said, "Nice to see you." What did the climate scientist say?
I don't know. What did he say?
Nice to CO2.
I like that one more than the other one, honestly. Oh my gosh. Okay, question 11. Crows. Okay, where did Earth Day originate? So A is India, B is the United States, C is Russia, and D is Canada. So drop your answers below. You guys have been doing really well, so I hope that you know the answer to this. Interesting.
They're all pretty good options because if you paid attention to Ms. Pereira's presentation, you should know this answer. So hopefully you know. And just a reminder that when you answer, make sure to type out the full answer and not just the letter.
Yes. Okay, I see a lot of answers. Now, Mike, can we get the right one? It is the US. So to everyone typing USA, you are correct. And thank you guys for paying such close attention.
So now we're going to be going on to the next question. Question number 12.
This is a good one.
Who had the idea to start the first Earth Day? So we have A, Justin Trudeau, B, Michael Consul, C, Gaylord Nelson, or D, Frederick Chambers. Now, in my opinion, I think Michael Consul looks like a really good option.
I think
he's
so.
always involved in leadership. And what do you think, Maria?
I don't know. Mike is just so inspiring. I can see him, in the 70s starting up a revolution.
Yeah,
I think it's Mike, definitely.
Could also be Justin Trudeau, I think he was a very prominent figure back in the 70s.
In the 70s, yeah.
Definitely. So, Mike, why don't we get a look at the answer? So the answer is C, Gaylord Nelson. So unfortunately, while it is not Mike, Gaylord Nelson has had a very large impact on just Earth Day and kind of started this great movement that hopefully everyone's participating in for years to come.
Okay, and our next question, we're getting to the end, guys. Next question is, how many people take part in Earth Day around the world each year? So A is 1 billion, B is 500 million, C is 5 million, and somebody is blocking D, 100 million. So how many people around the world? And how many people are there in the world in total?
So just to give you guys a little bit of a perspective, there's about 7.8 billion people around the world. So that is a lot of people. So keeping that in mind, how many people do you think celebrate?
A lot of people.
A lot of you guys are giving some really good answers.
Now let's see the right one, Mike. 1 billion. So yeah, about like a seventh or soon an eighth of the population of the planet celebrates Earth Day, which is kind of cool when you think about it. It's a lot of people getting together for a good cause, including you guys that are watching us right now.
So question number 14. So question 14 is, how many countries celebrate Earth Day every year? So we have A, 179 countries, B, 167 countries, C, 184 countries, or D, 192 countries. So just to give a little bit perspective here as well, according to the United Nations, there are about 195 recognized countries. But when we're just looking at independent sovereign states, there's up to 230 countries. That's crazy to think about.
That's so many countries.
Maria, do you know what the right answer would be?
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think in perspective to how many countries there are in total. You got to think of how many of them formally celebrate Earth Day. I don't know. I think most of them know the answer. You guys are doing better than I am. Oh, gosh.
Yes, it should be all of them, but the answer is D, 192 countries, which is pretty good. So that means out of the 195 recognized countries, only 3 aren't celebrating, and hopefully soon it will be all of them.
Mm-hmm. Still a pretty good success rate. Okay, question 15 is, so throughout the year, how often should you care about the environment and act to protect it? A is during winter and summer, B is only on Earth Day, C is 365 days a year, and D is on special occasions. Now, we're really praying that you guys get this one right, or this presentation was for nothing. Guys, please.
We should be focusing on the environment, not just on any special day. Hopefully, I see everybody in the comments seems to know the right answer here.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Can we get the right answer, Mike? Oh, and the answer is C, every day of the year, all 365 days. So you should always care about the environment and act to protect it. Earth Day just brings people together in a huge effort to do so. So having all of us here today is just us trying to raise awareness, but realistically, you should do this all year round. You should really care about the planet that you live on. I hope so.
So thank you guys for participating in our little game. We are going to be looking through the comments to see who the first people who answered each question are. And in a little bit, Kathy will come back after a Mentimeter activity to tell us what the winner is. And that winner is going to get a pizza lunch delivered to their door.
Sounds great. Okay. Next up, we're going to be welcoming our second guest speaker, Natalie Rizzo. She is a former TCDSB student trustee, and she is currently an animator for Development and Peace. She wants to share some stuff with us today and spread the knowledge. So a warm welcome to her.
Oh, okay, I'm on the screen. Sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Natalie, and I work for Development and Peace. And before I get started, I have a little PowerPoint, but I'm curious if you can please put in the chat box what you know about Development and Peace. What is Development and Peace? Oh, wait. Hello? Maybe you can type in if you have heard of Development and Peace before. Being kind. Okay. I went to a workshop and you guys are trying to protect the Amazon. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to just share my screen. Sounds like a charity. You're correct. Okay. Can you see what's happening?
Natalie.
Yeah.
We don't see your screen, Natalie. Are you on your laptop or your phone?
My laptop.
There should be a button there that says share screen on the StreamYard. Yep. And then I'll see it here in the waiting room, and then I'll show it to the crowd.
Okay. Okay. Let me know if that works.
Yep, I got it right now.
Okay.
Here we go.
Awesome. So Development and Peace is the official development agency of the Catholic Church in Canada. And I know at least some of you are familiar with our work, but we work with partners in the global south, the southern hemisphere of the planet. And we support our partners in two ways. The first way is through humanitarian aid. So that's like if there's a crisis or a natural disaster, we're on the ground supporting partners that are administering aid directly to people in the moment. So things like providing shelter, providing food for people that are vulnerable. And then the other part of our work is long-term development work. And that means working with community partners in different parts of the world that are fighting structures that are oppressive and unjust. And oftentimes, and you know this by watching the video that Ms. Ferrer showed, is that, you know, the climate crisis right now, because we're living in a time of a climate crisis, affects all people, but it affects the poorest communities the most. That's something that Pope Francis says. And so we're very intentional and conscious of the ways in which our consumption in places like Canada and the global north directly and negatively impacts people in the global south. So when we work with our partners, we work on taking political action, engaging in advocacy to try to work with them to fight a system that is keeping them oppressed. So we know that if everybody on the planet consumed the way that we consume in places like Canada or North America or the global north, we would need 5 planets. The Earth does not have enough resources to support and sustain, frankly, the level of greed that we are so accustomed to, the lifestyle that we are so accustomed to. And so sometimes, We might think that international development or global aid is a matter of raising people's lifestyles and quality of life to that which we are so familiar with, but that's not actually the case. We need to consume less. We need to be very mindful of where we're buying things and how far they're traveling and who's producing the goods that we are consuming, so that we can level the playing field and make things more equal for everyone around the world. Gandhi said, the world has enough for everyone's needs, but not enough for everyone's greed. And he also said, live simply so that others may simply live. And so when you think of that, and you can type it in the chat box so I won't be able to see, what are some ways in which we can live more simply? And definitely the quarantine is calling us to do that. But when we exit this time, what are things that we can do to live more simply? So we can buy less, we can buy local, we can buy things that are produced locally, we can shop at thrift stores, or we can buy secondhand so that we're not contributing to the cycle of fast fashion. We can buy food that's been produced locally so that we're not buying things that have traveled very, very, very long distances to get to the supermarket. Those are all ideas, and we'll talk about that. We'll pick up on that point in just a second. So someone said, I went to a workshop with you guys and you're trying to protect the Amazon. And so if you've seen this presentation before, you've been to a workshop, you'll know that this is not an image of a night sky. Often people think this is probably a picture of a night sky in like Toronto or maybe New York, but it's actually an image that was taken at 3 p.m. in the middle of the day in a city called Sao Paulo in Brazil. And if you remember, it was taken in August of 2019, this August that just passed. So if you remember what was happening the last August of 2019, this past summer, you might remember that the Amazon rainforest was on fire. And so this is an image, an aerial shot of all of the fire detections in the Amazon region. During that week of August 22nd, it was known as, or called in the media, the week of burning. And so that image that we saw prior was actually a daytime landscape where the sky had been darkened by the smog and the pollution coming from the Amazon rainforest. So what are some things that we know? Before we get there, just to say that we watched that video about Laudato Si, which as a refresher, hopefully you don't need a refresher, you watched it like 5 minutes ago, but Laudato Si is a letter, an encyclical that the Pope wrote in 2015, 5 years ago, to all people around the world, and it's a really great document to read if you have some free time, we think. And in that document, he talks specifically about the Amazon region, the Amazon being a really important basin, the same, thinking biome and basin at the same time. It's both, but an ecological basin that we must protect. And the reason why we must protect it is that the Amazon rainforest absorbs much of the carbon, the CO2 emissions that we are producing in countries like Canada. So it's a really important ecosystem in regulating the Earth's climate and fighting climate change. So it's so important that the Pope not only talked about it in Laudato Si, but he called for a gathering, a synod of church officials and also indigenous peoples that reside in the Amazon and call it home and are protecting the Amazon. And so here's an image of the Pope shaking hands with our partners. You remember that map with all of the dots, and I said we work with community organizations. Here are 2 representatives from one of the community organizations that we support at Development and Peace. So we know that 1 to 3 soccer fields of forests, of cover forest, is lost every minute in the Amazon. And those trees are cut down, often illegally, often on indigenous lands without the consent of the people that reside on the land. And why would people chop down the trees, and why would they then set the land on fire? Well, to construct roads and railways, to extract minerals and oil. So lots of mining companies that operate in this region, some of which are Canadian mining companies. And if you've been to any workshops, you know we talk a lot about a particular Canadian mining company that's impacting one of our partners. Industrial agriculture, so things like beef, but also soy that is fed to a lot of the animals that we consume, even in Canada. And so you can see the ways that, you know, these large industries, whether it's agriculture, whether it's extraction, roads and railways is sort of a precursor. It helps to facilitate the other two. But, you know, we in Canada are consuming minerals all the time in our iPhones, in our devices, probably the device that you're using right now to watch this. Minerals come from all places around the world, not just the Amazon. And oftentimes the people that are working in those industries are absolutely not treated fairly, are not given a living wage whatsoever, are working in slave-like conditions. But also people that reside on that land are often displaced to make room for these projects. So people are forced off of their homes that they have, you know, land that they've literally lived on, or not literally actually, that their families have been on for generations. I wish you could literally live for generations. Okay, and yeah, agriculture is also something that obviously we are also, you know, consumers of these products, whether it's beef or soy, or the soy that, you know, is fed to the animals that we consume. So what are some things that we can do? Well, we talked a lot in the fall, last time I went to CSLID, about ways that you can support our partners in the Amazon. But today I want to talk specifically about a pledge that we have, since it is Earth Day. If you can take some time to take a selfie and also upload it and take a pledge on our website. So I'll just walk you through how to do that. You can still see my screen. So if you go on devp.org, you scroll down, there's a post right here, have you signed the intergenerational pledge for our common home? You click that. You can read a little bit about International Earth Day, and then you click I pledge. And you can pledge to choose more plant-based meals, what we just talked about, choose eco-friendly transport to reduce emissions, consume wisely. So, you know, if you're really interested in mineral extraction, maybe you can look at fair trade minerals, or just other ways that you can buy fair trade or buy less or buy local, reconnect with nature while you're 6 feet apart from other people, or my own idea. So you would check off whatever you pledge to, put in your information, and then upload an image of yourself holding a sign that says, I care for our common home. And you can see these are some examples of what the sign could look like. My phone is going off the hook right now. I hope everything's okay. So maybe we can just take a few seconds to do that. You can still see the screen, right? All right.
Hi, Natalie. What is the website you want everyone to go to?
It's devp.org.
Okay, let me just type it on the screen. So when we are finished the broadcast, we encourage everyone to go to, and I'll type it on the screen, www.devp.org. Let me add that to the screen. So everyone, right after this, we are going to do our pizza giveaway right after Natalie is done, but if you can go to devp.org and join the campaign, that would be awesome.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, everybody.
So we just wanted to thank you for that wonderful presentation you just gave us. I know I learned a little bit more that I hadn't known about development and peace before.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's really nice to have you talk about, what you do and sort of what you guys stand for. I know we've done a couple of workshops with you in the past, but it's nice to have you here, so thank you.
Thank you, ladies, and thank you to everybody that joined in.
Thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Ooh.
So before we get into who has won, we are first going to be doing a little bit of a Mentimeter activity to hear a little bit from you guys and have a more interactive activity.
In the meantime, actually, Kathy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Kathy. I'm also a student at Madonna CSS. I'm one of the co-chairs for CSLIT and of course one of the student trustees, as you can tell from my title here. This is like my third time on this like broadcasty thing. It's so cool. So I've been monitoring all the comments that you guys are leaving and
Kathy knows the secret of who is won.
You guys will see soon after this Mentimeter activity.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so for the Mentimeter activity, we're basically just going to be asking you guys a couple of questions. So in order for you to answer the questions, you have to go to menti.com and use the code that's on the screen. You should be seeing it right now. And yeah, there you're going to be prompted to answer 2 questions, and then you will find them on our screen once you get back.
So after you answer, all of your answers going to appear on the screen so you guys can see how everyone else is answering and responding. And we'll give you guys a couple minutes just to leave some answers and see what everybody else is thinking about how they would rate the current environmental conditions of our planet and a couple other answers.
Okay. Yes, as you can see, the code is on the screen. Should we do it as well? I think it'd be cool to participate in our own little Mentimeter. And let me ask you something. What is, first, how would you rate the environmental conditions of our planet just without answering?
I think we've been stuck in kind of a position where major change needs to be done soon.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit more time, but the longer we put it off, the smaller chance we'll be able to reverse everything that's happening.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Maria? What do you think?
Well, I think that in order to create change, we all have to have a common goal, right? And so I think that because we haven't had that common goal, our planet is sort of deteriorating. Everyone's sort of pulling in a different direction. It's about time that we all get together to make the change that has to happen, I believe. So yeah, more or less the same thing you said. That we have to make changes now before it's too late, sort of thing.
So looking at the screen, I can see that there's a bit of a clear majority. A lot of people think that if we don't start making major changes now, it's going to be too late. We have a couple people thinking that we have to pay more attention to the environment. And I think 1 or 2 people who say that it's too late and that our planet is already doomed. So looking at everything, I think we can see one thing is clear, is that everyone thinks that change has to be done.
Yes. I like that nobody is assuming that the planet is doing just fine, which, makes me really happy to hear. We all know that there's an issue to be solved.
There is one person who thinks that our planet is fine.
Okay.
I wonder if you're that person, why don't leave a comment so we can see what you think.
Yes, share your opinions with us, please.
And in the meantime, I think we should move on to the next question.
Okay, and the next one was, let's see. So our generation will make a lasting change for the well-being of our planet. Agree or disagree? So the dots are scattering. We're going to see how many of you picked what. So 39 people have submitted their answer so far. Okay.
So this one's a little bit interesting because we have answers in every category here. And
so sorry, go for it. Sorry.
It seems like there's a lot of people most people agree that we will make a lasting change, I guess, in some way. But more people seem to lean towards somewhat agree rather than like a definite we will make change.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that some of you guys completely disagree. More people completely disagree than somewhat disagree. So that's a little concerning, guys. But I guess the same thing we said for the first question. You know, if you wanted to share your opinion with us right now on the live, you could definitely go for it. But yes, okay.
For sure. It'd be interesting to see all your comments on why you chose your answers. I'm sure there's a lot of different opinions across the board.
Yeah. Okay.
So before we end, we have one last question for you. So Maria, why don't you take it away?
Okay, thank you. Our last question to you is, what is one thing that you will commit to do every day that will benefit the environment? So type your response in the chat box if you guys can, just so we can see what everyone is doing at home or what you guys hope to be able to do in order to help out. What about you, Anne? What are you going to do?
I think one thing that I'm going to do every day is just try to shop a little more sustainably when I am consuming items, to pick things that are local or made fairly. In that way, just to help support factory scale and create a demand for goods that are produced in a way that is better for the earth and for us. What about you, Maria?
Okay, I like that a lot. That's really nice, actually. I haven't heard that one so far. I think something that I want to do is, I have some actually here. So I want to shut off all unnecessary lights. I know my mom is the biggest, like turn off all the lights when you're not using them. Don't waste water. So I think it's good that we already do that at home. But I also want to do my best to actively recycle in my building because, it's an important part. There's a lot of us living here. So I think it'd be really good if every day I just committed to sort of like dedicating time to like place everything where it has to go and trying to save as much as I can.
Yeah, 100%. There's like so many different ways, as we can see in the comments over here, for us to just be a little bit more sustainable and protect the earth.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have anything you want to add? Any improvements you think you'll do every day?
Please.
I think one of the best ways is definitely spread the word. I know I learned a lot today from Natalie and Audrey. And the more information you know, the more you can make a change. And it's not just good enough to know the information yourself, but provide opportunities to spread that information to other people. So I really thank you girls and Audrey and Natalie for putting this together so that we can all get educated about how we could better protect our planet and save our future.
Yes, for sure. That really is at the core of everything.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for your answers as well. Everyone seems to be participating.
And now we're going to be going on to the highly anticipated moment.
Yes.
We're going to be calling back Kathy, our student trustee, and she's been paying really close attention to everybody's answers, and she will tell you guys which one of you are going to be winning a pizza lunch. So
okay, so as you guys can see on the screen, there's like a wheel, and there's 15 names. Those are all the people who answered correctly and like first. So I'm going to ask you guys to drop a number 1 to 10, like pick a number. First number I see, like first person, that's how many spins we're doing. So let's say you pick 7. So on the 7th spin, that person would win. So I'm just going to give
Let's go full screen, Kathy.
Oh, sorry. Can you guys see it? Is it? Oh, wait, here we go. Is that better? Okay.
First number
I see the number 7, Kathy.
Me.
You're an influence.
Oh my. Okay. I also see 7. Okay. Wow. So we're gonna click it 7 times. So first person out is Astro. So you have 6 more spins. Can you guys hear like the clapping noise, or is it just me?
I think it's just you.
We're on spin number 3. Spin number 4.
The suspense is building. Who's gonna win the pizza lunch?
Spin number 5.
There's a whole pizza
So
on the line.
whoever that
A whole pizza on the line.
Whoever
Spin
that
number
7th spin is, make sure to
6.
contact Kathy, Maria,
Yeah.
or Anne
Please
before
send me
you
an
go,
email.
because we want to be able to send you that pizza.
Okay, so this is the last spin. So whoever wins, please send one of us an email or like message the CSLIT Instagram so we can get your information. Are you guys ready for the last spin?
Drum roll, please.
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous too.
So
So the winner is Dawn Tran.
Ooh.
All right, Don.
So
Kathy, can you put your email in the chat box? Don, make sure to
yes.
email Kathy, and we will make arrangements for you to get a large pizza with 3 toppings delivered to your doorstep, courtesy of CSLIT, for participating in our special Earth Day presentation.
Okay, I just dropped my email in the chat box. So Dawn, if you're watching, that is my email. Please reach out to me.
good job, Dawn. And just want to thank
you.
everybody
All right.
for just participating in the game in the first place.
Yes. Oh, actually, now that we've had our winner and we have announced that, we have another announcement. So our next CSLIT meeting is next week, Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. So we just wanted to remind you guys to tune in the same way that you're tuning in now so that you can show your support and be an active member, even though we can't have a formal meeting.
Be there, be square.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So just to help us close, we are having Michael Kakamo come in here. He is our superintendent, also known as the Selfie Super, and he's just going to give us
Ooh.
a little bit of a closing remark to just wrap things up. So take it away.
Thanks very much for having me, folks. Oh, my keypad is right there. You don't want to see that. Thanks very much, folks, for having me, and congratulations. Yet another wonderful CSLET session. The environment, Earth Day, Laudato Si. I think it's wonderful that you've been able to take the time as student leaders to highlight what's so important about saving our planet Earth, what is wrong with the planet Earth, and what it is that we can do to make some changes in our lives and in the global world to make Mother Earth better than it actually already is. And the only thing that can make a difference is your contribution. Don't think that a contribution is too small. A contribution is not too small. Every little bit helps. So thanks very much to Ms. Fair, Audrey Fair from our Religion and Family Life team, who was here to make a wonderful presentation about Laudato Si and other points on the environment. And of course, from Development Peace, thank you to Natalie Rizzo. And also thanks to the team, the CSLIT team. Annie, Maria, Kathy, Jeanette, what a wonderful job you're doing. I'm really pleased that you're able to carry out the voices that challenge goals that CSLIT has come up with, and this one being on the environmental pillar. So congratulations to all of you and to those following along. And I really love the fact that you really made this not just about the environment, but how it can also be part of our faith perspective. How important it is to attach our faith and our spiritual awareness to Mother Earth, and how even our Pope has said that there's so much that we can be doing to make a difference. So congratulations to all of you. I also want to say, as a reminder, tomorrow is Thursday, April 23rd, and we gather every Thursday, as many of you know, as a Toronto Catholic District School Board community. And what we do is we gather in faith and prayerful reflection. And we are having a liturgy tomorrow at 4 o'clock on our YouTube channel, which is Nurturing Our Catholic Community. Please take a look. You are going to be joining us as we reflect on Mary Magdalene. And you know, Mary Magdalene was the first apostle after the resurrection. That is to be, the apostle means to be sent out and to share the good news. So Mary Magdalene was the first person to encounter Jesus, and Jesus told her to go and tell the others the good news. So she was our very first apostle. We'll be reflecting on her and praying about her and praying together as a TCDSB community. Thank you so much, everyone. Congratulations. Keep up the great work. Keep well, keep safe, keep the faith. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Giacomo. Thank you again. Everyone put clap in the chat box for Mr. Giacomo. That would be awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for all that you're doing as well. This is an amazing initiative. God bless you and congratulations.
Thanks. All right, before we do our final prayer, we have a contest happening for all TCSB students, and you can win $100. That's it. That's right. $100 is the prize, not a pizza. $100 prize for this contest. So what the contest is, it is a Polish Heritage Month. And what they want to do, and I'm telling you today because the deadline is on Friday. It is a poster contest. A poster contest for Polish heritage, honoring Polish Canadian heritage. So all the details are on tcdsb.org. If you cannot find it, this evening I will also post the information at catholicstudentleadership.com. So I know all of you are home. There's no school. You have a bunch of distance learning work. But if you have the time and you have some creativity, then put together a Polish heritage poster, submit it. All the information is on the board website. I'll also post it on catholicstudentleadership.com. So in the morning, you can go check it out. It'll be there sometime this evening. But if you win and if your poster is selected, you will win not a pizza, but $100. $100. So I'm going to call on our awesome hosts, and they're going to close it out with our prayer.
So we just want to thank once again Mr. Giacomo for his closing remarks, and thank you to all of you guys for tuning in today, and for our wonderful guest speakers, Ms. Ferrer and Natalie Rizzo.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. And now that both of the mics have spoken, we wanted to welcome Jeanette, as you can see on the screen, to lead us in a closing prayer that she wrote, guys. So.
All right, let us all sign ourselves in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. O holy God, when the earth was created, you put every thought and paid attention to every little detail. From the bright blue sky above our heads to the green grass that swayed amongst our feet, you blessed us with an environment that we could call home. It is now our turn to be stewards of this planet and take care of your wonderful creation. Heavenly Father, bless us with the knowledge to create a sustainable future. Guide us with the Holy Spirit to be with us always when making eco-friendly decisions, and send us forth to put our faith into action and make this world a better place. Now, if you all have any intentions, we ask you to please type them in the chat box. And in the meantime, I would like to ask Maria, do you have any intentions that are related to Earth Day that you would like to pray for?
For my intention, I would like to pray for everyone that's doing their part to help create a sustainable future. You know, all of our guest speakers today, all of the people that are watching us, and all of us, you know, just to pray for our health and safety and, you know, for a change in the future.
All right, thank you. How about you, Anne? Any Earth-related intentions?
So my intention isn't as Earth-related, but I really would like to pray for the people who are doing the biggest part in helping our planet right now, and those are our frontline workers, the people who are helping us through this tough time in the hospitals, at police stations, and firefighters. So I hope that in the business of the day, they have time to spend with their families to celebrate Earth Day, and for them just to stay safe.
All right, thank you. And lastly, Kathy, do you have any intentions you would like to pray for?
Maria and Anne had really good ones. So, but I'd like to, I guess, pray for everyone in the chat because I know this is a hard time, and this is such a great way to have a sense of community since we haven't been able to see each other physically. So just for everyone, in their health.
Thank you all for your intentions. We will definitely keep them on in our hearts. I would also like to pray that we will be able to have many more events like these, so we are able to educate people around the world and especially in our community on how we can create a sustainable future for our Earth. And now I would like to ask all of you to please join me in prayer. Mother Mary, please intercede for us. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. All saints, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank you all for joining us and for everyone who helped out today and just participated in the comments. And before you go, we just wanted to remind you one last time that next week, Tuesday, April 28th, 2020 at 4:30 is going to be our next CSLIT GA. So we're looking forward to speaking with you guys again.
Also, if Dawn is in the chat, please send me an email so we can get your pizza situated.
Yes, claim your pizza.
I kind of wish I got a pizza to myself.
Me too. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Maybe Mike can hook us up with a pizza.
Yeah. We all get a
Where is Mike?
All right,
Bye,
girls.
Mike.
Amazing meeting to the 73 people that are still there. The meeting's over. But we like to thank
some music.
Make sure to join us next Tuesday, and we'll have more pizza, more fun, more leadership, and some good time. So thanks, everyone. Girls, Anne, Kathy, Jeanette, and Maria. Amazing work. And we got to do it again for sure.
Good. Thank you, Mike, too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, for
you do a lot of work too.
setting this up.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Be safe.
See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.